I am Anthony Lampkin. This is my senior year here at Morgan State University. The story is living as the only son, my dad's disappointment with the things that I did and not live through his life. He tried to live his life through me, and I decided to live my life the way I wanted to. He saw my determination with the things that I wanted to do, but it wasn't what he wanted me to do. So he had to respect me because as a man, I started to carve my own way, but it affected our relationship because a lot of the things that he wanted to talk about with his only son, he couldn't talk about. He couldn't talk about sports statistics with me because I didn't know what he was talking about. He couldn't be excited about watching the Thanksgiving Day football game with me or Super Bowl with me because I didn't care about those types of things. There was one time that my father really showed that he was appreciative and he respected and he was proud of my craft and the things I wanted to do. And it was when I actually appeared on 106 in Park for their Wild Out Wednesday competition with my modeling organization, the Signature Models, and we actually won first place in 2008. His desire for me to do the things that he wanted his only son to do started around the age of 8. We actually moved into a neighborhood in Maryland called District Heights, and they had their own basketball and their own football team. And he wanted me to play both basketball and football. And so I enrolled in the basketball program when it was intramural sports. And, you know, I liked that I was learning the skills of it. And then that's when the following year, I joined the 9 and under team. After joining the 9 and under team, I continued all the way into 13 and under. And, you know, it started that early on. I want to say around, you know, elementary school to middle school level. Springs apartment complex where we resided at that moment. And just he wanted to hone my skills as a basketball player. So he was very, very supportive in my athletic and his athletic endeavors for me. It wasn't fun for me, but seeing how it pleased my father, it made it fun for me. One of the things that I really love to do, and I've done ever since I was 3 years old, was singing. I sang in Mount Olive Baptist Church choir since I can remember. My grandmother, my father's mother, put me in the choir and discovered that I had a voice early on. And so I wanted to hone in those skills. And immediately after I quit playing basketball, I started entering into talent shows and entering myself in the talent shows, finding different ways to hone my skills, looking for different vocal coaches. I auditioned for American Idol before. I've tried to get involved in those things. And although my father wasn't supportive, I just got out there and I just started grinding and doing the things that I really wanted to do as far as seeking an entryway into the entertainment industry. Initially, he didn't support a lot of the things the other things that I wanted to do, but I will always say that I respect my father because he actually, on two occasions, it was when American Juniors first had their very first season, him and my mom, they drove me to New York. And I, in the back of my head, I always believed that it was my mother pushing him to take me because I don't think if my mom wasn't there, he wouldn't have taken me. But the second time when we auditioned for American Idol in New Jersey, he actually took the liberty to, you know, rent a truck, and him and I, we went out there together. Friction started when I entered into high school. I started discovering the Catwalk Classic modeling competition. Recently, before that, joined a modeling boot camp, and when I joined that, I really loved it. I can see that was an entryway into, you know, the industry. I've seen a lot of people who become radio personalities or television personalities or just on their personalities in any facet start out, you know, having a modeling career. 10th grade year, it was freshly coming off of, you know, being first entering into high school and still carrying on the weight of 1, being the only son, 3, having younger sisters, and then having my father not really be supportive of the things that I wanted to do. It was a transitional phase for me. It allowed me to sit back and look at my life and the way that I was going. And if I kept going in the way that I wanted to appease everybody else, including my family members, I was on a destructive path. I was always the example. So it was Anthony, well, my family calls me TJ, so it's TJ get the 4.0, so everybody has to get 4.0. TJ gets all A's and B's, and he always on the honor roll, and it was that pressure that had me going to like a depressive state. It was, I don't want to fail, and they look at me and say, well, TJ couldn't do it, so I can't. And so when I went into therapy, it was all of those things coming in, trying to find who I am amidst all of this chaos that was going on. And it was really a trying time for me. I remember it was a time where I needed to go really bad to the therapy session, and my father wouldn't even pay for it. And I had to pay for it out of my own pockets. And it was those things that really fueled me to be on my own and start to say that if I don't take hold of my life, then it's going to be a destructive path for me. Say my senior year is when we really started to have real man-to-man conversations, because my father realized that at that point, it was nothing he could do to make me change my thought process about what it was that I wanted to do and what I was doing. Our relationship with my father right now has grown in ways that I could never have seen it when I was in high school. And I think it's because I've gotten out of his house. He saw that him and my mom instill within me values to take with me for the rest of my life. Regardless of whether or not he agreed with the things that I wanted to do, I'm out here doing things on my own. I'm involved in a lot of different organizations on campus. I have my own place. I've been on my own. I don't ask my parents for anything. I don't see them for money. When I go home, I see them for holidays. They ask me how I'm doing. You know, my parents are recently separated, so my dad and his girlfriend, when I go see them, you know, we have conversations about what I'm doing when I graduate from high school, where do I plan to relocate. He kind of really sees my point of view, and he respects it because I in turn bring those things that he couldn't have the opportunities to do, because my father, he lost his father at the age of 3. So he didn't have the opportunity to have and see his father, see him grow up and see him do the things that he wanted to do. And so I think that he really understood that if I don't start to bridge this relationship with my son, I can lose him. And so I think now we're in a really, really good place, better than where we were.